In the glorious year of 2006, a lot of amazing things happened in the gaming industry. Riot Games was founded with the intention of creating a big free-to-play MOBA known as League of Legends. The PlayStation 3 launched, allowing thousands of people to not just have access to a cheaper Blu-ray player, but also to be able to play Ratchet & Clank. And Epic Games released the first ever Gears of War, one of the fastest selling console games ever made. But none of this compared to the release of the Nintendo Wii in November. The Wii was a massive success, hitting insane sales numbers over its lifespan, and for a good reason. I don't think there's anybody my age who doesn't know the soundtrack of the Wii Shop channel, or the brilliance of hitting a strike in Wii Sports Bowling and seeing all the Miis jump a 360. It was a perfect console for the whole family, with the controls being accessible for anybody who knew how to put on a wristband. On top of that, it was just marketed as a console to be played together with others, just like how the Switch was marketed years later. But in most of the Wii bundles you could buy, you received just a single Wii motion controller. And that isn't enough to play with others, so the people at Nintendo created a pack to buy an extra controller, where you even got a game for just $10 extra. Wii Play was a collection of small games that showed you the different ways the controller could be used, similar to what Sony has done with Astrobot for the PlayStation controllers. Experience this grand variety of minigames, such as fishing, shooting at targets, Where's Waldo Me Edition, Pose Me, billiards, laser hockey, and table tennis. All of these games were good examples of fun mechanics only possible through the Wii motion controller, even if they were a bit boring after 10 minutes. But one game stood out among the others as a true banger. Tanks took over Wii Play to a point where most people didn't even know the minigame's name didn't have the word Wii in front of it. This game, if you ask me, is probably one of the best short games ever made. It's perfection in almost all ways, and I'm just gonna give you a small rant as to why. But first, let me explain to you how the game works. You are spawned in as a toy tank in an arena made out of blocks. You then battle it out across 20 different stages with different enemy tanks in order to beat the game. Pretty simple, you might think, but this game had a depth to it that none other could match. First of all, those tanks you're fighting against, they're all highly varied and specialized in their own way. The first tank you encounter are simple. They cannot move, they shoot one slow bullet at a time, and they do not really track the player. A good starting tank to get used to the controls. Grey tanks move at a slow speed and also only fire a single bullet at a time. They do try to target a player, but their movement isn't super specialized. Teal tanks are similar to grey tanks, but they are hyper-focused on hitting the player. Luckily, their bullets don't bounce off of walls, so you can use this to your advantage. Yellow tanks are like the idiotic little brother of the gang. They're incredibly fast, they lay mines, but they're not that smart. So it's pretty much a 50-50 whether their actions will kill you or themselves. Pink or red tanks move at a normal speed, but they can shoot 3 bullets at a time, and they love to find your booty and shoot it. Green tanks are the devil. I mean, they don't move, but they can fire 2 fast-moving rockets that bounce off of the walls twice, and their accuracy and geometry skills are as high as tourists visiting Amsterdam. The purple tanks move at a fast speed and can fire 5 bullets that can bounce once, and they lay 2 mines and they run at you like attack dogs as soon as you hit their line of sight. And last but not least, white tanks are a bit odd. They move at a normal speed, they fire 5 slow bullets at a time, and they can lay 2 mines. But they have stolen Harry's cloak of invisibility, so they disappear as soon as the round starts. Luckily, they forgot to think further ahead, so you can still see their track marks as they drive around. Over the course of these 20 different stages, you battle it out with a combination of these different tanks and have to figure out which strategy works best for each level. You start out with 3 lives, and whenever you pass 5 missions, you gain a free extra one. It's a really fun game on the whole, and the wide diversity of tanks and the combinations definitely keep the game interesting and keep the difficulty pretty high. But it's not just this that makes this game so amazing, because the music is insanely good and insanely well thought out. You see, unlike other games, the music in Wii Tanks evolves as you progress through the game. The base music of this game goes a little bit like this, with a simple flute and a drum beat. This is the music that plays with the brown tanks. Then, when you hit the grey tank variant, it adds a little ting or metronome to its every beat. Then, something special happens. As the tanks increase, you will find out that when there are multiple of the same tank, an extra instrument layer can be activated for the whole track. So when there are 2 grey tanks and 1 brown tank, you get an extra drum beat addition. Then when you kill enough tanks to lower the amount back to 2, it'll go away. With each tank, there are different rhythms and instruments and layers and complexity added, which makes the music soundtrack of this game just an incredible experience, and it adds so much to the overall gameplay. If you want to know more about this, I'll link a video from Scruffy you can watch after the video down below, where he goes in depth about how the whole music system works. Trust me, it's worth it. So the music is great, the difficulty is great, and the variety of tanks is great. What's not to love? Well, sadly, this is of course still a minigame. So the maximum of 20 levels is sadly a little bit short once you get pretty good at it, right? Well, no, because this is just the start of the game. If you manage to finish 20 levels, you get returned to the main menu and you think, that was great. Except if you manage to pass those 20 levels now again immediately, you get greeted with level 21. Yeah, there's actually a total of 100 levels in Wii Play, and it has 1 extra tank to throw at you, the black tank. They aren't just fast, they don't just lay mines. They can also shoot 2 rockets at a time, and they actually predict where you'll be moving, so fighting them is actually really hard. So, is the game perfect? I mean, it has depth, it has variety, it has difficulty, it has amazing music and a fairly long playtime for a game you would expect to just be a minigame. For me, it's definitely among the greats of the minigame or shorter game genre for just that alone. But there's one thing in this game that sadly did not live up to the quality of the rest. As I said at the start of the video, the Wii was made to be perfect for playing together. Wii Sports, Super Smash Bros, Mario Kart, and many other games wholeheartedly embraced this. Hell, even the other minigames on Wii Play were predominantly multiplayer experiences. While Tanks does have a co-op mode to beat these missions with 2 people, it's sadly just less than amazing. First of all, the levels don't change when you are with 2 people, so you're still playing through the exact same missions. Of course this makes sense, I mean it's still a minigame, so why would they remake every single level just for when you play co-op? But there are a few differences. Your bullets will destroy your co-player's tank, meaning that accidents are punished really harshly. It probably didn't help my perspective on the game that I would purposefully shoot my baby gamer brother, as I just found it fun to mess with him. Anyway, it's just not very enticing to play the game in co-op mode, and that's really sad. This game has so much potential for an amazing multiplayer game mode. I mean, you have all these different levels that you could clearly use as battle arenas. You already can play with 2 players, so why isn't there a 1v1 mode where you can battle it out against each other? Hell, add a tank selection screen so you can choose any of the variety of tanks to fight with. It would add so much strategy and playstyles to the game and basically make it endlessly replayable. For a console focused on playing together, the multiplayer options for tanks is just not that great, which is a big lost opportunity. Just tanks alone is enough to cover the $10 bonus cost for the bonus controller, and is probably the biggest value for the buck you could get on this console. Honestly, regardless of its flawed multiplayer mode, the game is absolutely fantastic and deserves praise even 12 years after its release. If you have a Wii and a Wii Play laying around, I'd say try playing it again. I guarantee you're gonna have a ton of fun. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know if you love Wii Tanks as much as I do, or if you've never even heard of the game before this video down below in the comments. Outside of that, if you're curious about any of my other videos, here's one about why controls in video games matter, and another one about how difficulty in a game sucks. Thank you again so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!